This is the Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, on Alternative Talk, AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage and finance expert, Tina Mitchell.
Welcome back to the Money Hour with your host, mortgage expert Tina Mitchell, right here on 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, July 11th show. I've built a network of elite industry professionals, every week sharing their knowledge and expertise with you, my listeners. If you're hearing my show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast, you can call the show at 1-855-400-1150 or go online to themoneyhour.com. And if you missed any of the guests here in studio today or previous shows, go online to themoneyhour.com. All the podcasts are there. You can listen over and over to get the information, because these are, again, the elite, the best of the best in the industry, and a lot of advice that they can share with you. And right now in studio, I'm going to be talking with Cherie Carchano with Centrex Real Estate. Listing your home for sale is an art. There are important things that you need to do to attract the buyers, and in resulting in the highest price, you want to attract multiple and as many buyers as you can. Cherie, first time I've had an opportunity to talk with you. I'm excited. I'm excited for the topic and in selling your property and really being able to maximize that. So thank you so much for coming into studio.
Thank you, Tina. I'm excited to be here.
And a little bit about Cherie. Cherie's been serving the King County real estate industry since 1986. She's been a realtor, commercial real estate underwriter, and residential loan officer. So she did a little bit of what I do in my full time, and has owned her real estate company since 2006. So you've owned your real estate company right before the meltdown that we
Yes.
had. And this year she was chosen for the 5-star award for real estate brokers, and her passions are lighting, design, and staging. So again, Cherie, I'm excited for the conversation, and I want to just kind of start out with someone's decided to choose you to sell their home. Where do you start with them?
I always start with helping the seller prepare their property for sale. And we discuss the importance of street appeal, and start with, just looking at the bushes, the grass, making sure that driveway's cleaned up, just the simple things you would think of. Oftentimes, even mentioning to them that they might want to reseed the grass.
Okay.
Oftentimes, homes have a light dusting on the exteriors, and just pressure washing the home will make a huge difference in brightening up the appearance of the home. In addition, the garage doors and the front doors, they should look really, really crispy clean.
Yes.
And oftentimes just painting those two items can make the biggest difference in the street appeal of the home.
It's funny that you're talking and saying this right now, because it is the first impression, and it's the first impression before they get to the house. And Kyle, our credit expert, is looking at buying a home, and right now he is looking at homes on his phone. Really say he's been,
right.
So it really is important, because that's where they're starting. They're starting on their phone device, and then they're going to decide whether they're actually going to make it out to the house.
Exactly.
And so if that first impression is not right on, they never make it out there. How devastating would that be?
Exactly.
So let's talk about some things that make a big difference.
Well, as we mentioned before, when you start with the street appeal,
Okay.
making sure that the garage doors are nicely painted, that the front door has oftentimes been nicely painted, and the way our electronic key boxes works for us real estate brokers, it takes several minutes for those things to actually pop out the key.
Okay.
During that time frame, the buyers are standing on the front porch, the front deck,
Yes.
and just kind of looking around. So the place should be completely clean of cobwebs and dirt and any kind of grungy stuff that ends up on people's front porches. And if the porch is large enough, it's really nice to have like a little table setting with some chairs, maybe some fresh flowers sitting out there. That just gives a really warm and inviting appeal to that entryway.
And what a huge difference, because you're buying a home. We're talking about emotional. I mean, you're going to be raising your family, spending a lot of your time there. So you want to really connect to that emotional side of the potential buyer. So let's go ahead and we talked about the outside. Now we're going to be moving on into the inside. What are you looking for, Cherie, when you're advising your sellers on the inside of their home?
One of the very first things that I start with my sellers is tell them to get rid of their fluorescent lighting. Fluorescent lighting can oftentimes take up to 10 minutes to actually reach its full brightness. And when brokers are taking their clients through a home, they're typically in a room for maybe 3 minutes at a time. And with the fluorescent lighting not being at its absolute brightest, buyers might be given the impression that the house is dark.
Okay.
And dark to them also means uninviting
Exactly.
and not homey.
Yes.
So again, first thing, get rid of all those fluorescent lights.
Okay.
And put in incandescent lights, or ideally LEDs, because they're very bright and they don't heat up the house. If you've got your house on the market in the summer,
Yes.
they put out very, very little heat. And it can make a world of difference. In addition, oftentimes I will ask a seller to change out some of the lighting fixtures in the house.
Okay.
Can make a huge difference in how a house is presented. And if you're going to narrow it down to just a few fixtures, I would say the entry fixture.
Okay.
Change that out so it has a great wow factor. And the dining room is also another really big one. If you can have some really wow factor in those two rooms, again, it really, really makes the house feel homey and inviting.
And isn't it exciting that some of the biggest impact that you can see on the home is some of these little things that
Yes.
you need to do, that we're not talking about thousands and thousands
No, exactly.
of dollars. And that is awesome. What about, anything else on the interior that can have a huge and a big impact?
I tell the sellers, get some professionals and get the house clean, clean, like you can't even imagine. Things like vacuuming the baseboards make a huge difference.
Okay.
Lighting fixtures, anywhere that hands have touched, doorknobs, light switches, those places attract a lot of dirt that oftentimes the naked eye doesn't really pick up on, but the subconscious eye does.
Okay.
And people go through the home and it'll feel really, really clean, like a place they want to move into.
Yeah.
Or sometimes it can feel kind of grungy and they're like, oh, I don't want to move into somebody else's grunge.
Exactly. Makes total sense. And so really getting that big, major deep clean. What about staging? How are you advising and talking with your clients about staging, Cherie?
Staging is so critical because how a home is staged for sale and what the home looks like when you actually live in it are completely different.
Okay.
So what you need to think about is you've got a real estate broker, and typically two people, their clients, are walking through the house. 3 people should be able to move very, very easily through the home, being able to walk up to doors and windows without stumbling over furniture or coffee tables or side tables. A lot of those things need to be moved out of the way. In addition, often it's not really practical for staging for you to have furniture in the middle of the room, which it might work when you're living in the home. But when you're staging a home, you want the floor space to look really, really big.
Makes sense.
And so typically you'll have the large pieces of furniture pushed to the outer walls as much as possible.
So having those 2 couches or those chairs to where you're looking at each other
Exactly.
is where you'd ultimately be after you move into the house.
Exactly.
But makes total sense.
Right, and moving coffee tables out of rooms. Again, you want that
Yeah.
floor space to look really big. Sometimes
sense.
taking away side tables. There's a lot of little things that you can do to really change the look of the house.
Yeah, and maximizing space. Everybody going into a
space.
new home really wants to be
Exactly.
able to imagine they've got a lot of space to work with. So, Cherie, what about professional photos and the importance of photography?
Well, I'm glad you lined up 3D for RE before me because it is. No matter how great your house looks, if you do not have professional photos, who cares how great your house looks? I'm always surprised by the real estate brokers that go out there and they take photos with their cell phones. They don't turn on lights. The house is not decluttered. I've walked into kitchens where there's just dishes all over the place, and real estate brokers have taken their cell phone out and just snapped pictures and thrown those in the multiple listing. It's horrifying.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so professional staging to prepare your house for the professional photographers really, really brings in the traffic for the people who are looking to purchase the home, and really, really helps the seller get the top dollar.
Yeah. And again, we've, talked and kind of, working up to my time with you is, there's everybody knows there's a lack of inventory in our market and there's a massive amount of buyers, but it really is about getting top dollar. And if I have a seller that's listening right now, Cherie, to the show, what is the worst thing that they can do not to maximize the profit of their home?
Not prepare the home for sale.
Yeah,
I mean, it's that simple.
There you go. So just a breakdown of what Cherie shared. It's maximizing how your home shows on the outside, so you can actually get them to the home.
Right.
Maximizing how the home shows on the inside, and that's staging, the professional photography, getting that deep cleaning. What do you do, Cherie, and how are you so successful with your sellers? little bit different than what your traditional realtor would be doing out there on the market?
Again, my passion is staging and lighting design.
Okay.
And we can take a 50-year-old house, change out some of the lighting in the house, and just completely change the look of the home. And sometimes it is just in some of the older homes, tearing up the carpet and exposing the hardwood floors. But I just can't emphasize enough, just really, really preparing the home for sale. This is probably when I spend the majority of my time with my sellers.
Yes.
Is getting it ready for sale and throwing that fabulous first open house. And so far, my listings have been selling within a week.
Wow.
And for over list price.
Yeah. So Cherie, I want to switch a little bit off of the marketing side of it and the showing of your home, and go to in the multiple offer scenario when you're representing one of your sellers. And I know you represent sellers and buyers, but I'm focusing time with you today with your sellers. Sure. What is important when you're looking at offers and these multiple offers that you would give advice to sellers to really be looking for, to separate those offers from good or bad outside of just price? Are there other things that you advise to be looking at within the contract and deciding which one to choose?
Absolutely. Pre-approvals, Tina, as you know, how important those are. I would say from a buyer standpoint, don't even think of looking at houses and writing offers unless you've already been to a loan officer and have a pre-approval.
Okay.
Not pre-qualified, but pre-approval. And talk to a loan officer, the difference, because there's a huge difference.
There is.
Absolutely. So yes, when I'm sitting down with my sellers, we want to see a pre-approval letter.
Okay.
From an established mortgage company. And then we're also looking at the type of financing that buyers are getting. And a buyer, to be really competitive in this day and age, if they will offer up their credit scores along with their pre-approval letter, that can make also a huge difference.
That is a great tip. So when you're out there and you've got strong credit, why not go forward and go, look, this is what I'll have my mortgage consultant put right in my pre-approval letter what my credit score is. So that is I've never heard anyone say that before. Cherie, makes total sense.
Down payment and credit scores. So yes, when real estate brokers are calling me, they know it's going to be a multiple listing or multiple offer listing. They're asking me what is the best thing they can do to make their offer look most attractive to my seller. And I said, if you can tell us the down payment and put the credit scores on that pre-approval letter, it makes a world of difference.
It makes a great advice. Cherie, I got to wrap up the show here, but in conclusion, what do you want the listener to take home?
Take your time and get the house ready to put on the market. Don't get over anxious and just want to throw it in the multiple listing just because we're in a hot seller's market. If you really, really want to get top dollar, take the time and get your house ready to put on the market.
Great advice. On top of that, Cherie, for my listeners, you got to have an expert. I got one in studio right here. Thank you, Cherie, so much for coming in. I really appreciate it. It was great having you. Look forward to having you come back.
Thank you, Tina. I've enjoyed it.
And that is my show. This is your mortgage expert and host, Tina Mitchell. I'm going to sign off for the day. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I will be back here, same time, same place, right here at 11:50 a.m. KKNW with some more awesome guests. Thanks again. Have a great one.